Hello everyone, I hope you're all having a fabulous Wednesday. Today I have a tag video. I was tagged by two lovely ladies, Elle and Fashionably Amy, to do the luxury handbag tag that was created by Lydia Elise Millen. So thank you ladies so much for tagging me. Alright, so let's get straight into it because I have loads of eye candy for you guys today. I have 20 handbags in my collection, but there are two small leather goods that I end up using solely as clutches, so if I include those, then I have 22. As you can see, I store and I organize my handbags on the shelves behind me. The one there in the middle is a little different from the other three, only because it was my first shelving unit, and I have often thought about maybe upgrading all of them, so that way I have a little bit more of a cohesive look to it. But the room that I'm actually in now used to be a third bedroom that we converted into a walk-in closet, if you will. And not only did it make it a lot easier for me to be able to store my handbags in such an open space, but it also allows me a little bit more ease to be able to transfer from one handbag to another. So I really like this space, and it makes it really fun for me to be able to hang out in here sometimes because I also have my clothing, my shoes, and then a few other odds and ends. So I was really happy that we were able to do that with the third bedroom that we had. But as far as the handbags specifically, I always keep them in their dust bags filled with air paper in the upright position. And the reason why I wanted to talk about the upright position a little bit is because when I started thinking about the Chanels that I have with the quilts, I wanted to ensure that I keep them in the upright position for the fact that if I end up laying them down, then the quilts might end up flattening out more on one side than the other. Then I won't end up having a uniform look to them. I won't end up having a uniform wear to it. So I always try to ensure that I keep them in the upright position. As far as air paper, I felt that it had the most benefits for the handbag, not only because it helps it maintain its shape, but it also doesn't create extra moisture inside of the handbag. And in the beginning, I used to use clothing, pillows, or towels inside of the bag to help the shape. But what I noticed is that sometimes the bag might end up having a little bit more of a musty smell to it. It might end up having a different smell. And the air paper doesn't create any more moisture, kind of like what the fabric used to do. So it doesn't create moisture, it helps it retain its shape, and it doesn't add extra weight to the handbag. So that's why I decided to go with air paper. And I end up buying mine on Amazon, and I'm going to show you guys. This is a trash bag full of air paper. This is how it came, but they are all the U-line air cushioning. This is what they look like, and there are different sizes, but I actually ended up paying, I think it was 13 something for it, and I ordered it through Prime, so I got it the very next day. But I've gone through 3 or 4 of these bags, and they are, like I said, they're very, very lightweight, and to me, in my opinion, I feel that it's the best thing to stuff your bags. So if you are interested in it, make sure you check out Amazon. And like I said, they have different sizes. And if I can remember the exact sizing on these, I will put it in the description box below, because I feel that this is not only the perfect size for some of the others, for some of the smaller handbags that I also have, as well as the larger ones. So I thought I would also mention the air paper. And the last thing that I wanted to mention as far as organizing my handbags is that I always make sure that they are outside of the boxes, so that way the leather can breathe. And the reason I wanted to also discuss it is because if you have your handbags in a box, or if you have it somewhere where there isn't too much ventilation, you run the risk, I'm not saying that this is going to happen, but you run the risk that the leather might end up cracking or drying out because the leather isn't able to breathe in such a confined space. So I learned the hard way, and that's why I just wanted to pass on some friendly information. That way, if you do have them inside of a box, or if you do have them inside of a drawer, it would just be a lot better for the leather if you were able to have it breathe in even if it's in a smaller closet, or even if it's in a smaller shelf, or whatever it is that you have, just make sure that they are outside of the boxes. But to each their own. I just thought I would, again, pass on that friendly information that I was passed down to many, many years ago. My first purchase, there's a couple of firsts here. The very, very first handbag I think that I bought was either a Volcom Stone zebra, a fabric zebra, red trimmed bag, but it almost looked like a tote, but it was a really small tote. It was either that one, or it was a Kenneth Kohl black leather bucket bag. And both of those two, I used them to death. So those are some of the first that I got. But as far as luxury handbags go, my very first one was the Louis Vuitton Moyen Montseri backpack in the monogram canvas. I love that bag. I have since sold it, but I think I used that bag for, it seemed like for years, but I have some very fond memories of that backpack slash bag, if you will. My newest handbag is this beauty, which is the Louis Vuitton Speedy Bandolier 25 in the monogram canvas. This was a gift from Robert for Valentine's Day, and I've been using it quite a bit. I've been picturing it quite a bit on Instagram. I'm sure you guys are sick of it, so I will be transferring out of that bag. So yes, that is my newest handbag, the Louis Vuitton Speedy Bandolier 25 in the monogram canvas. The most expensive bag is this beauty, which is the Chanel Jumbo Double Flap in the black caviar leather with the gold hardware. This bag, I purchased it a few years ago, and it was $5,500 plus tax, so I think it came out to roughly $5,900, a little bit under $6,000, but it is still very surreal that I have this bag in my collection because it is my holy grail, and it was an experience that I don't think I'll ever forget because I felt that it was, you know, like my heart was in my throat. I was so nervous, and yeah, so it's my Jumbo Double Flap with the black caviar and the gold hardware. I was going to say that the most dramatic experience was when I got the Chanel Jumbo, only because I felt that my heart was kind of in my throat. I was super, super nervous throughout the entire process. And, you know, I can't deny the fact that it was just, you know, I still think about it now. It was just such a crazy amount of money to spend on a handbag, especially when I think of, you know, it was more than my first car. And that's just, you know, my first car was a used car, and I think it was like $1,500. So it was a surreal moment, but that wasn't the most dramatic experience, even though it seems like it. But I'd have to say the most dramatic for me in the sense that I was just grinning like an idiot for the longest time before, during, and even after. And that would be when I purchased the Louis Vuitton Speedy, the classic Speedy 30 in Demi Azur. And the reason why it's such a dramatic experience, if you will, was because I got this at the Champs-Élysées Louis Vuitton in Paris the first time that we went. And it is by far the best souvenir I've ever purchased, and I mean anytime, and it still makes me happy anytime I talk about it. And I still vividly remember how I felt when we walked into the store. I remember the entire purchase. I literally remember it like it was yesterday. So that to me seems a little bit more dramatic than the Chanel Jumbo, even though I still love that experience as well, because I have been very fortunate that I have had some great experiences, and I've also had some that weren't the best. But this one I think takes the cake because of how exciting it was, and the entire reason why we were even in Paris. It was for my birthday. Robert surprised me for my milestone birthday, if you will, and yeah, so I'd have to say that the Speedy 30 in the Demi Azur is by far the most dramatic experience. My favorite store has got to be hands down Louis Vuitton. And even though I've been purchasing Chanel handbags lately in small leather goods, my heart will forever belong to that fashion house. And it's not really a specific location. It's not a specific store or anything like that. But I said this in a different video that I feel that when I'm in Louis Vuitton, I feel like, and it might sound kind of ridiculous to some of you, but I feel like I'm home. And when I'm at other boutiques, even when I'm at Chanel, I feel like I'm visiting, like I'm hanging out with friends. But at Louis Vuitton, I feel so incredibly comfortable. And like I said, it doesn't matter on the staff. It doesn't matter on the location. I just feel like I don't know, I feel at home. I feel just great about being in the boutique or being in the store. So yeah, I'd have to say Louis Vuitton 100% takes the cake as far as my favorite store. Plus the eye candy. I mean, you can't get over the eye candy. So Louis Vuitton for sure. My current favorite, and I'm glad it says current because I tend to change my mind all the time, but my for now favorite handbag is another bag that I'm sure won't be a surprise because I have talked your ear off about it. I'm sure you're sick of that as well. And it is this beauty, which is the Chanel medium large in the black caviar with the silver hardware. And now even though the jumbo was my holy grail and I love that bag, I love the combination, the medium large is by far one of the most comfortable Chanel handbags I have ever owned, I have ever used, and I just love this handbag. I constantly gravitate towards it. I love the size. I have to go somewhat compact when I'm using it, but it doesn't dig into my shoulder. It doesn't feel uncomfortable or anything like that. It's not cumbersome. So for now, this is my favorite handbag. So like I said, I'm glad it says current because I am like 50 shades of crazy and I constantly change my mind. I don't have a handbag that is my least favorite because I do love them all. I have downsized considerably from the collection that I used to have. So I think I'm going to add a little bit of a twist to this question and I will put it as my least used handbag. And that would be, I have two of them because I also mentioned in the beginning that I do use some small leather goods as a clutch, and I will show you guys that in just a second. But I'd say that my least used handbag is this beauty, which is the Chanel GST in the beige clair with the silver hardware. And yes, you are not seeing things. That is the protective tape on the hardware. All right, I just thought I'd point it out because I know someone's gonna say it in the comments. But you know, the reason why I leave the protective tape on there is because it makes me feel better. All right, it helps the craziness just, you know, kind of I don't know, enjoy the bag a little bit more. I should take them off. I know it might look so tacky. It might look so ridiculous, but it makes me feel better. So I just thought I'd take that out of the equation. But this bag is my least used because of the color. And I do love the beige clair. This one in specific has a little bit more of a grayish undertone. And I think it really complements the silver hardware very nicely. But since I am a person that ends up using quite a bit of dark clothing, whether it is a coat, my shirt, or my pants, I have to be very, very mindful when I'm using this handbag and how I'm using this handbag, because the last thing I would want is to get any type of color transfer. So it's the least used because I end up babying it the most. And I normally don't like to baby any type of handbag. I like to be able to enjoy them and use them as such. But this one just causes me a little bit more anxiety. But I still love it. I still love it. Even with the handful of times that I use it throughout the year, I really like the combination. So my least used, full on, like I said, handbag. And then the other item that I use, like I said before, that I use as a clutch, but it is a small leather good, that is this beauty. This is also one of my least used handbags I say. But in the beginning, I used this O case from Chanel quite a bit, and this is the smaller version, the one that has the pockets on the inside. But I don't use it anymore, and I feel that I might end up actually selling this because of that same thing. I just don't use it. I mean, I even use it less than the GST, so I'm still kind of debating on whether or not it's going to leave my collection. Because you know that if I end up having something in my collection for quite some time that I don't use for many, many months, I much rather end up putting that money towards something or a bag that I will end up enjoying quite a bit, or adding into the rotation a lot more. My next handbag purchase, I am banking on getting the Louis Vuitton Speedy 30, the classic Speedy 30 in Damier Ebene when we travel coming up in the next couple of weeks. So I'm really hoping that ends up happening. And I haven't had a Damier Ebene Speedy in my collection for a while now, and I miss it. It's my all-time favorite print. I love the red interior that it has, and as most of you know, I love classic Speedies. It's just something that I always end up gravitating towards. So I'm hoping that is, you know, for sure my next handbag purchase, because I can't say with certainty it's going to happen when I'm there. You never know. So I'm banking. I'm banking on it being the Speedy 30, the classic Speedy 30 in Damier Ebene. I don't have a dream bag, to be honest. I have some bags that I would love to add to my collection, hopefully soon. But, you know, like I said before, the jumbo was my holy grail. It was a surreal experience, and I'm very, very happy, and I was very fortunate that I was able to add it to my collection a few years ago. So I don't really have a dream bag, and I know some of you might be thinking, you know, what about Hermes? A lot of people, you know, that's the goal. That's the, you know, that's the end-all be-all for handbags. It isn't for me. I do appreciate them. I think they're absolutely gorgeous, whether it's a Birkin or whether it's a Kelly. But I will say at the moment, it is not a either one of them are handbags that I would like to add to my collection. I did have them on my wish list once upon a time. I have since taken them off. But like I said, I'm constantly changing my mind. So that's why I say at the moment, they're not dream handbags for me. But I will say ones that I am dreaming about adding, stupid, dreaming about adding to my collection soon are the Givenchy Antigona. That bag just, I don't know, every time I see it, I love it. I love the simplicity of it, the leather. I would like the pebbled leather, and I think it's such a beautiful, beautiful handbag. And probably another Celine mini luggage, although I might go for the micro, but I would love to add it in either the black or the red. I don't know why. I always I like the idea of adding colored handbags to my collection, but I did have really bad experiences with them, but I just can't help to be just kind of gaga-eyed over a red handbag. Who knows? But those two handbags and the Valentino bag that I talked about in my luxury wish list as well. So, oh, and I can't leave out the Goyard. See, it's like I can't really say which ones I'd like to add because I feel like it's a never-ending list, you know? Every time I feel like I'm done, then I think, oh, well, that one would be nice to add to the collection. But anywho, I'm just very, very, I really like the collection that I have now. I use them all the time. I'm constantly rotating them. So, like I said, I don't really have a dream bag, but you never know what the future holds. So I know I ended up rambling quite a bit throughout the video, but I had such a great time doing it. So ladies, thank you once again for tagging me. Now, who would I like to tag? I know that I'm one of the last ones to do this video. I'm pretty late to the game, so my apologies. But I would love to tag Mel Soldera. I know she hasn't done it. The Luxe Babe, and my very good friend Andrea, and me and Mr. Vuitton. And I think everyone else has pretty much done it. If you haven't, I would love to tag you to do it as well. Or if you want to start your channel with this tag, it would be fun. Or even if you want to share on Instagram with any of us, you know, your answers for these questions. It's really, really fun. And it really gives you a chance to be able to share these firsts, or, you know, just in general, your thoughts on handbags. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already and you would like to, please subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on my face up here. I should change that because it looks kind of funny when it pops up. And I also think that you would like to check out these videos, and I thought I would actually end up adding the luxury wish list so you can have a little bit more eye candy when I talk about the items that I would like to add at some point in time to my collection. So thank you again so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and as always, make it a fabulous day or not. The choice is yours. Have a great day, you guys.